gift from heaven, leaving me to admire her all the more for her talent at bending reality to suit her. And that's exactly why I loved her. Her new passion was fashion design. Alex was known for her whims, but this time, even I couldn't stand in her way. The realization of what she wanted to do had washed over her in a moment when she was sitting, with her eyes closed, listening to the voice deep within, as she called it. Honestly, majoring in fashion design really did seem to be tailor-made for her. She had sent applications only to colleges in and around Berlin and had received 2 acceptances. One school was downtown. The other school was none other than mine. It didn't take her long to decide where to go. Almost everything was perfect, really, but with emphasis on the word almost. Because there was one huge problem. Alex wasn't going to be renting her own place. Even tiny apartments can be super expensive in Berlin, especially for students. Instead, she was going to move in with her brother, Elyas, who was almost 2 years older than her. His roommate had moved out recently, and Alex had immediately called dibs on the room. I hadn't seen Elyas for years and years, and let's just say I wasn't exactly sad about it. It was only in passing that I had even learned he was also living in Berlin. But since he was studying at a different university, I hadn't wasted another minute thinking about him. The city was more than big enough for the 2 of us. At least that's what I'd thought. Until I found out his apartment was only a 10-minute bike ride from mine. A strange feeling came over me at the idea of seeing him again after all this time. I'd have preferred to avoid it. Frankly, I was making desperate efforts to repress the sinking feeling I had. The main thing was that it would be great to have Alex around again. The bus came to a stop with a rough jolt, and the hiss of the automatic doors was my signal to get off. I had hardly set foot on the sidewalk when I caught sight of Alex and her parents, Ingo and Alina, hauling cardboard boxes out of a big white van a few yards down the street. The 3 of them constituted the portion of the Schwarz family that I loved dearly. I had spent half of my childhood in their house, and over the years Ingo and Alina had practically become second parents to me. "Ooh!" Alex squealed when she saw me, dropping, with a loud clank, the moving box she had been holding. By the time she took her next breath, she was already running toward me in a burst of unfettered excitement. Did I mention her tendency to hyperactivity? I briefly considered ducking at the last second so she would end up hugging only air. It was a funny idea, but it would have been too mean. Only just a little, though. So I laughed and spread my arms in time to feel my petite best friend land in my hug and almost topple me over. "Emely, Emely!" she yelled, nearly squeezing me to death. You couldn't tell from her innocent looks, but Alex was definitely the spawn of some kind of hugging monster. A Hugosaurus, maybe? I can squeeze people to death, too, I thought, returning the pressure in kind. I could hardly believe I wasn't going to have to say goodbye to her again in a few days. She was going to stay here and get on my nerves day in and day out, the way she always used to. I sighed in satisfaction, and then she suddenly let me go. "You're 15 minutes late," she said. I sighed again, this time in irritation. She looked just like her mother, with curly light brown hair that she usually wore down, but her eyes gleamed with the same clear snow-melt blue as her father's. Without skipping a beat, she took me by the arm and dragged me over to her parents. Alina beamed at me and jogged the last 2 steps to wrap her arms around me. "Are you doing well?" she asked, putting her hands on my cheeks. I nodded with a smile. Alina was born in Poland. Her eyes were